In this video, we're going to go through a couple examples of DigiGait videos, showing both good practices that you're aiming to capture and bad behaviors that you're trying to avoid. On the screen here, we have an example of a good video. What we're looking for in terms of content is consistent walking from the animal. We want to see the animal recruiting its limbs and walking for the full duration of the saved video. This is important because the DigiGait is used to analyze gait, specifically for when the animal is walking. We want to determine our different metrics, such as stride length, paw angle, stance width, and more, all for when the animal is walking, not for when the animal pauses or stops. Let's slow it down now. We also want to make sure that all 4 paws are in view of the camera for the full video. If we lose any paws from view of the camera, we aren't going to be able to track the paws for that portion of the video. This video here is a good example, and you should aim to capture something similar. These next few examples show behaviors that we want to avoid capturing. In this video, we can see nice consistent walking from our animal, but we're actually losing the 4 paws from view of the camera. If we slow it down, we can see a bit more clearly. The 4 paws are stepping outside of view of the camera, which means the software will not be able to properly generate our gait metrics for this animal. There's an easy fix to this though. What we can do is just push the front bumper in so that the animal is pushed back into view of the camera. Now re-record this video with the paws in view and you'll be all set. This next example shows more behavior to avoid. In this video, we can see the animal stops walking, sits on the rear bumper, and loses its hind paws from view of the camera. When the animal falls back and we lose the hind paws from view of the camera, the software is no longer able to track and analyze the data coming from those paws. This is similar to the last example, but with the hind paws instead of the 4 paws. We always want to make sure that we can see all 4 paws. In addition to losing the paws, this video is also problematic since the animal is sitting on the rear bumper. This animal is no longer walking by itself, and instead propping itself on the bumper. The 4 paws are still stepping, but the animal is no longer recruiting its hind paws. This doesn't give us an accurate reflection of how the animal walks. We want to see the walking unassisted and in all 4 paws. This next video is our final example of behavior to avoid, but it is a bit trickier to see. At full speed, it looks like the animal is walking, moved backwards on the treadmill a bit, and then continues to walk. When we slow it down, we can see the behavior better. The animal is walking and recruiting its limbs, but then stops walking altogether and rides the treadmill backwards. All 4 paws plant on the treadmill, and the animal stops for a brief period of time. This behavior of riding the treadmill backwards is something that we want to avoid. The problem with this is that the animal is no longer recruiting its limbs, but the software is still going to analyze the gait as if the animal was walking. Let's take stance time for example. When the animal is walking, we'll calculate an accurate reflection of stance time, or the time the animal's paw is on the belt. But when the animal stops to ride the treadmill, we're going to get this extended stance phase because the animal is just paused on the belt. We want to ensure that the animal is walking for the full video that we save, so that the gait metrics accurately reflect the gait while walking. This final example is a good video, and one that is totally fine to record. At first glance, this may look similar to the last video. The animal is walking and goes from the front of the treadmill, falls back, and then walks forward again. The main difference here is that the animal never pauses. It never stops and instead continues to recruit its limbs the whole time. Movement front and back on the treadmill is totally fine as long as the animal is still walking. Make sure to follow these practices when capturing videos, and your analysis will go much more smoothly.